Well, it's another hazy, hot, and humid summer day here in the Northeast, but the grass keeps growing, so today I thought I'd talk about some of the pros and cons of a 3-point hitch-mounted finish mower versus a mid-mount mower. Now, when it comes to mowing, you have several options available. One, of course, is the 3-point hitch-mounted finish mower, which is what I have on my tractor. You also have the option of a mid-mount mower, which is what some people call a belly mower. Traditionally, it's like a typical lawn tractor where the mower sits between the front wheels and the back wheels. Then you have an option of a flail mower, which again is 3-point mounted, or a rotary cutter bush hog type mower. They each have their purpose, and one is not necessarily better than the other. It really depends on what the situation is and what you need it for. Now, the mid-mount mower and the 3-point hitch-mounted finish mower both essentially serve the same purpose. They are finish mowers. They're made for more of a manicured cut, and they both work very well for that. The flail mower is used to cut heavier grass and weeds and wouldn't really leave you a great finished cut, but it can really chop through a lot of thick brush and things like that. Now, the rotary mower, known by most people as a bush hog or brush hog, is 3-point mounted, and that has one single blade. It's a heavy blade, and the momentum of that blade spinning around can knock down small trees, thick weeds, brush, and it's great to use for clearing a field or maybe clearing some trails in the woods, but it doesn't leave a great finish for your lawn or manicured area. But I'm here to talk about some of the main differences between the two types of finish mowers, the mid-mount and the rear-mounted 3-point hitch finish mower. Hey, if you like this video or if you like this kind of content, I'd really appreciate it if you would hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap that little bell icon so you're notified when I put out my next video. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments and tell me what kind of mower you prefer. Now, I'm not going to go through the pros and cons of each type mower, the mid-mount versus the 3-point mounted finish mower, but I just want to have a conversation about my experience and why I went with the rear-mounted mower. The first reason for me is the ease of mounting. Mid-mount mowers have a reputation of being a bit difficult and cumbersome to attach. You have to drive over them, hook up linkage and shafts and different things. It's not something you would take on and off very frequently from what I understand. Now, my rear-mounted finish mower, I can hook that up very easily, very quickly, and that's because all 3 connection points pivot individually. So they're pretty easy to hook up, and I like that a lot. The second reason I prefer the rear-mounted finish mower is you can lift it very high. So if you do have tall grass, you can lift the rear mower deck very high, you can back into it, set it down. I think you have more control over tall grass. You can use it kind of like a bush hog. You probably shouldn't because it's belt driven. It's got 3 blades, finish blades underneath. It's really made for finish mowing, but you can kind of use it like a rotary mower, and maybe I do. Now, one con that you might find regarding the rear-mounted mower is maneuverability, but on my list here, I listed that as a pro and a con because it does hang off the back of the tractor. So when you're making turns, that mower on the back swings out. It tends to be more cumbersome. But again, the maneuverability of that can be beneficial. I like it because I can back under brush, under trees, along steep banks. I use it to back up to my stream and my pond, and I can back right over the edge of the water, drop it down a little bit, and I can mow right to the edge. Something you really can't do with a mid-mount mower because you'd either be sideways or driving into the water. So I do like it for that, but it makes the tractor longer, more cumbersome. So it's really a pro and a con depending on your use. One thing I really like about the rear-mounted finish mower versus the belly-mounted mower is that the rear-mounted mower ejects the grass from behind. I can mow one row up and the other row back and not worry about piling up grass on one side or clumping it. And when you're mowing, it doesn't leave rows or lines, it just disperses the grass pretty evenly behind you. So I'm really happy with that feature especially. When you get into the B series tractors, they're starting to get a little big for maneuverability around a typical yard. The BX series are probably better for that because they're a smaller tractor and more of a lawn tractor size, oversized lawn tractor. But the B series is starting to get kind of big. So both the rear-mounted finish mower and the mid-mount mower, to me, are great if you have a big open area to mow. But if you're mowing around things, if you're in a smaller yard, it's just getting a little too big. And I've seen a lot of people talk about, if you're going to use these tractors for mowing, for finish mowing, you really should just go with a zero-turn or traditional lawn tractor. So in hindsight, I think I probably would have gone with a rotary mower, because I tend to use the tractor out in the field where the grass and weeds get taller. I really can't use it around the house or the yard very well. So I think I should have went with a rotary mower, but it works for what I need it for, and I do like it. I know I keep coming back to maneuverability, and that to me seems to be the biggest con of the rear-mounted mower, and probably kind of a con for a mid-mount, again because of the size of the B-Series tractor. But what I have found, if you have the front-end loader attachment, you'll have a lot more maneuverability if you remove the loader frame, or at the very least, I remove the bucket and I just have the quick connect up front, and not having that bucket or grapple in front of you gives you a lot more maneuverability. Let me just show you a couple examples of how I use the rear-mounted finish mower. Now here's one example of how the rear finish mower is useful. This tree trunk, I can't get close to it, but with the rear mower I can back up to it and get closer to it than I would with a mid-mount mower. Now here's a good example of both a pro and a con regarding maneuverability. Now the tractor is much longer with the 3-point mounted finish mower, so my turning radius is much wider. I can't turn when I'm close to this fence without hitting the fence, but I can use that advantage to mow closer to the fence by swinging the back end around and dipping in under the fence as much as I can. So it's a pro and a con. Now here you'll see the #1 reason I went with the rear-mounted finish mower, and that's because I can back right up to the edge of the water of my pond and keep it clear all the way around. Another reason I really like the rear finish mower is that I can back into heavy growth like this area along this woods. And here's one more great example. This is a ditch that I like to keep clean and cleared out. Now clearly some of the things I just showed you would be better handled by a rotary mower or brush hog, and given the chance I probably would buy that now instead of the finish mower, just because of my needs and the way I would use it. But for now this is what I have, and unless I decide to sell it, and buy a cheaper rotary mower, I'll keep using this. Here's our dirt mound that we use for a shooting range, and you can see how I can back up that hill and really keep it nicely mowed. Now you may or may not have noticed, but when I do this type of work, like along this dirt pile or along the edge of the pond, I use the lift mechanism for the 3-point to my advantage, and I'm able to float that deck up and down and often get the angle that I need, and it really works well for me. Now this is by no means a review of the FDR1660, but one thing I do like is how easy it is to adjust the height. You take this top pin out and you just simply shift the shims, from one side to the other. And you can add an inch, take away an inch. They even have a 1/2 inch here, so you can really fine tune it. I find that 1.5 inches is a good height for me most of the time. But there's also a bit of a fatal flaw with this design, and that is not the fault of the manufacturer. I know it's my own fault because I'm not using this deck as it was intended. It's intended to be a finish mower where you're mowing on a nice open area, and you would not run into the issue that I have. What I found is that when I back under brush, when I'm trying to use it, I guess like a bush hog, but I'm backing under areas, a couple times this pin has got caught by a weed or a rose bush, and it comes out and the back wheel falls off. I've lost some of these spacers and I've had to replace them. So again, no fault of the manufacturer, but if you're using it the way I do, beware that these pins can come out if they get caught on something and you'll lose your spacers. Well, that's it. That's how I use the rear finish mower. That's why I bought the rear finish mower, and you'll have to make a decision for yourself which one is going to be best for you. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hey Siri, what's the temperature outside?
It's about 91 degrees outside.
Hey Siri, what does it feel like outside?
The perceived temperature is 100 degrees right now.
It's hot.